Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by a contribution from Becky, and here's her story. Hi Ollie, this is Becky. I just wanted to let you know that I can't say enough how grateful I am to you. You have validated many of us to which the therapy community, religious institutions, and society at large has invalidated victims of cluster A, B, and C personalities have done. I will continue as long as I can contribute to your channel. Please keep the videos going. You are innately very intelligent and offer a mental sharpness that is 1 in a million. I think what we need is truth above all else, since knowledge is power. But before that, I wanted to wish you a belated Happy Father's Day, and I am sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I can't imagine the heartache and frustration that you're going through because I don't have children, but I want to extend an arm of compassion to you in this situation and how callous of your ex-wife to make it challenging for you to have more contact with your daughter. I extend an arm of compassion, and I do believe that for all the good that you are, good will come back to you. Well, thank you. So I want to share my observations of something very traumatic that happened this week. My client, who I have been working with for several years, has deteriorated to the point where she can't eat or drink without choking and is emaciated. Believe it or not, I had this same issue, and it's all mental. It's all mental. I have that same issue where all of a sudden I just can't swallow, and I can't figure out what the hell, like I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like it felt like you were going to choke to death. And truth be told, I'm kind of having that issue again, where the only thing I can pretty much get down since all this happened has been like ice cream cookies or for some reason those little spicy chicken sandwiches, those Weight Watchers things. But yeah, I've already lost like 12 pounds since Father's Day. So, which is good and bad because I wanted to lose weight anyway, but it is what it is. And this is something I also helped somebody else with on Pal Talk when I was still using it. Friend of actually a girl who happens to be a friend of somebody who actually tried to take down the GoFundMe from Pal Talk, who got jealous of somebody I actually helped, where she was actually in the hospital. Couldn't eat, couldn't swallow, same thing. And when I told her I was going through the same thing and the psychosomatic, how it's psychosomatic, and I just asked her a few questions about, her past, and obviously it was, again, narcissistic abuse, which is what basically generates people to those chat programs anyway, is introverts looking for friendship, just looking to be heard, not understanding it. But this is a common thing. This is more common than you think. Something I deal with, it's a couple other people deal with it, and it's all psychosomatic. And to me, it has to do with whatever stress you're dealing with at that particular moment. Is so great that you can't even swallow or sustain yourself. And it's scary and it's frustrating, but I do understand it. But it usually does pass. The problem is when it passes, you overeat, and then so keep that in mind when dealing with this client. Anyhow, here is the story about the side effect of narcissistic abuse, which is my cynicism. Cynicism is turned into optimism because of a woman named Esther. And sorry, this is a long story, so you can edit where it needs editing if at all possible. As you know, I work as a caregiver and have been doing this for several years. And long before that, I volunteered in a nursing home for years. When I took this job, I didn't realize that it would have such a profound impact on me. This job, especially working with a late-stage Alzheimer's client named Esther, has healed and empowered me from narcissistic abuse. And how is it that devoting my mental, physical, and emotional energy to a woman who mumbles, can't feed herself, and has severe cognitive problems to the point where she's dependent on me, teach and empower me? Well, let's go back to 2011. I was laid off from my dental assisting job and just was surrounded by toxic relationships, and my last boyfriend, who was diagnosed psychotic, left me cynical. I was cynical from the toxic coworkers who backstabbed and sabotaged me, from my toxic friends and ex-boyfriend and former bosses. I just felt like no matter what good I did, I was being punished. I applied to dental assisting jobs with an excellent resume. I could take all the dental x-rays, pour up the dental models, clean teeth of all ages, sterilize and do chairside assisting, but couldn't get a dental assisting job despite my skills. So I decided to shift my focus to college, in which I transferred to a top-tier research university. In 2014, I was curious about nursing, so I thought about taking a job as a personal care assistant with a company that aligned with my personal values. So far, although no boss is perfect, has been one of the best employment experiences. So to cut to the chase, I was assigned to work with a client I will call Esther. Esther has late-stage Alzheimer's, and I have worked with her for 2 years. Esther would mumble on a regular basis, sound coherent. She was a wanderer, which meant that she would walk constantly for hours all around the memory unit, which consists of a 4-building complex, and each building was called a neighborhood. All my life, I've dreamed of a mother who truly loved and appreciated me, and I believe as children of narcissists, we need to develop relationships outside the home so we can feel the nurturing from others that we never had, so we can grow and prosper. This is my belief. Esther always thanked me. When I would see her, she'd shower me with kisses. Although she was cognitively limited due to an illness, she was loved by everyone. She touched me in such a way that healed my broken heart. She always made me feel loved. Esther never demeaned me. She would walk from one building to another to say hello to everyone. I just remember there wasn't a consistent reminder of my value in the eyes of my mother. But Esther always made me feel loved and valued, which increased my confidence and empowered me. I was so used to feeling devalued by so many sick, toxic people. The point is, when you are constantly devalued by so many, especially your parents, who come to think that you are the one who's the piece of shit. But Esther always held and kissed me no matter what. I could hug and kiss her, and she would reciprocate. This contrasts with my mother, who would ignore me, but lavish me with "I love you" and kisses in front of her friends. She would be affectionate and loving one minute, and then ignore me completely, even when I desperately needed her attention. I was wrong even for no reason, which constantly reinforced the message, "You are worthless. You are a burden." When I cared for Esther, she healed my heart. She was always loving and kind to me and treated me better than my own mother. This has exponentially contributed to my healing from narcissistic and sociopathic abuse. My ex, I believe, was a sociopath who did what he could to destroy me. I've come to the conclusion that we are targeted out of jealousy, since narcissists and sociopaths don't prey on those who they are envious of. Either envious or afraid of. I went to a narc support group, which didn't work for me. I told the leader of the narc support group that Esther was like a mother to me. The leader said that that isn't real, and the only love is the love you give to yourself. That statement clued me into that maybe the leader is a covert narcissist. She was selling books, asking for donations at the end of the meeting, wanting everyone to tell her how great the group is. I didn't donate because I didn't feel like she did anything but sit back and give me fake condolences in addition to each of us reading a portion of some self-help book she was peddling. I hate self-help books. I just think they're bullshit. I really do. Which is why, I mean, people tell me I should write my story or a help book. I would never do a self-help book. I would tell my story and tell my opinion, but that self-help stuff really, really rubs me the wrong way. I think we humans can tell when someone genuinely cares and when someone doesn't. So I need authenticity. Support for narcissistic abuse is so hard to find. Even with these groups, there are hidden narcissists and some self-centered people who can't really reciprocate empathy because they are so badly weakened and damaged. Esther nurtured me consistently, which my mother never did. Esther showed me unconditional love by always acknowledging my existence, talking to me, babbling to me, and showing me affection. She validated my existence where, in my past relationships, I was just a utility. I was used by others for my empathy, skills, contact, outgoing personality, and then when I wasn't useful, I would be ignored or discarded. I felt like I was only good when I could do something for someone. That is why I pushed myself so hard in all my jobs. When someone would compliment me, I wouldn't believe them because my mom invalidated other people's compliments of me, except when I shared her characteristics, like being a hard worker, which my mother is considered a hard worker. My mother could never validate others' opinions of me separate from her. So I couldn't accept that I was good at taking x-rays, like the hygienist told me, or that I was pretty or lovable or anything. I just couldn't accept compliments because my mother always told me that they are lying or just saying something to flatter me. But some people have said, so what? Some say that regardless of whether the compliment is genuine or not, take the compliment anyways. But the thing is, my mother brainwashed me to the point that it wasn't about people flattering me. She would acknowledge and say out loud my positive characteristics, like I was asked good questions, or my doctor who told me that I am so knowledgeable, even though he himself is far above and beyond knowledgeable, since he has a PhD in biochemistry, in addition to graduating from Harvard and is a practicing physician for decades. I couldn't really accept compliments because I believed my mother. After all, she was the one who gave birth to me and spent hours, days, years with me. She would know me better than anyone, right? But when I've been with a woman who has a cognitive impairment, she no longer has the brain of someone who lives and deceives. People with Alzheimer's don't have a filter. They have lost the ability to abide by social norms and expectations. So just like children, they tell you how they truly think and feel. Once Esther told me she didn't like the pastor who came to visit and pray for her. I laughed because I thought she liked everyone. But she showed me that I could accept compliments because I could see the truth in them. I could see the truth in her love, compassion, and affection because it was real towards me. This past week, Esther has been suffering a great deal. I don't think she has long to live. I have seen many people suffer, but not as much as Esther. It has gotten to the point where she can't eat or drink or choke without choking and vomiting. This is heartbreaking to me. Oh, okay, so at the beginning you were talking about Esther. I thought you were talking about another narcissist. I see. I spent hours holding her hand, cleaning her vomit and feces, and watching her gasping for air. I tried my best to keep myself together. It isn't fair that someone so good and so beautiful has to suffer so much. But Esther tried, despite the confines and spending years inside 4 buildings to make the most of her life. She cherished her relationships with others. She validated my existence and made me feel confident and secure within myself because she always acknowledged my existence, whereas my mom would often act like I didn't exist despite the numerous times that I would try so hard to get her attention, even negative attention. But this goes to show that we as abused children can find people to be that mother figure or father figure we never had. When we as children are told that we are only useful and lovable when we do something that affects our growth, I strongly believe that being treated as a tool or a supply source as a child growing up affects all aspects of our lives. In the narcissist's eyes, everything is our fault. When our lives are riddled with problems, it is our fault. When we lose a job, it is our fault. When our love interest doesn't call us back, it is our fault. We are always at fault, even for the things we have no control over. We are worthless, even if we can't provide, narc supply, or serve our duty. If we have problems, then we are to blame, even if we aren't the source of the problem. There are challenges inherent to life, regardless how good a person's life is. But narcs are so neurotic that if there is a hardship that they can't cope hold their own. They can't cope or hold their own. According to the narc, life has to be problem free, which is unrealistic. It has to be problem free for you. They're allowed to have all the problems in the world. When I get traumatized, when I get frustrated dealing with a life change, I turned to my mom for support, and many times she would blame me for causing the problem or scrutinize the way I would handle a troubling situation or yell at me. So I would feel stressed and anxious in changing situations due to how my narc mother conditioned me. On the contrast, when I had problems at work, Esther would console me with her I love yous and shower me with kisses, which calmed my frustration. Because of Esther's humanity towards me, this has given me the energy to feel valued. I keep finding through positive interactions with people that I am a valuable person. Positive, loving, good people like Esther teach us our self-worth. Our mother and father figures are in our mirror. So when someone treats you poorly, you know that it's out of the poor relationship they've had with themselves and it was never about you. Thanks to Esther for teaching me my self-worth and experiencing loving, strong relationships. She has empowered me to live my life with joy and fortitude. Thanks, Ollie, for all that you do. I wish you continued strength and determination in your goals, in addition to health and happiness. Love, Becky. I apologize. I'm still not right mentally. But thank you for your story, and thank you for telling everybody about Esther. But Becky, I have to be very, very honest with you. And because you are been such a good support. And I wouldn't blow smoke up anybody's ass. And I'm not going to do it here. I find it so sad and concerning. Not so much concerning, but yeah, a little concerning. That the validation you get is from somebody suffering from Alzheimer's. Here's my worry. Because from what you're telling me about and I'm not saying that Esther isn't a wonderful person, and I'm not saying any of that at all. I'm saying is, it is so sad that you have to get your validation from somebody suffering from a mind-altering disease. And I'm not saying it's the disease that made Esther be nice. And no, not at all. But my concern is for you, in that what I think your narc therapist was saying, and yeah, that therapist is fucked up and a narc, but they were right to broach the concern with you. Completely misguided. See, your issue has been, and has always been, you don't believe anything anybody tells you. And my concern here is that if Esther had been the type to pull the same tactics or reject you, it would have been, you've been able to say, oh, maybe that's the Alzheimer's, she's not in her right mind. It was still kind of a very, very safe decision, or a safe way of going about your discovery. And I completely believe you've come to this conclusion. Your next step, though, Becky, is you got to do it with somebody in the real world. Like, not that Esther's not in the real world, but somebody where there isn't an escape hatch if it goes wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Someone where, you know, you can just say, this is another narc in my life, and that's just it. And maybe it was all on, and maybe it was all, you got to keep pushing it forward now. And I am so sorry you were abused to the point. Because as wonderful as your story is, and as wonderful a person as you are to give of yourself like this, you know, my concern is a little bit that, you know, it was still kind of the safe way. Probably the best option for you at the time, but you're not done. I think you probably know you're not done. The goal now for you, Becky, is to extend this now outside of your professional life. Because in my opinion, as long as it's all in that professional life with the people you're helping, it's always going to be that safety valve of maybe it's the dementia, maybe it's the Alzheimer's. Okay? And that could end up being like I talked about in my last video, that another anchor. And eventually that anchor will drown you. And, you know, those problems are going to resurface. Okay? You know you're valuable. You wouldn't have been able to accomplish the things you've done through the schooling. And believe me, nobody understands more about being overqualified on a resume and not being able to get a fucking job, okay, than me. I get that. And that has nothing to do with you. That has to do with what's happened in the workplace and what's happened in society. Okay, but I want to make sure that you keep moving forward. And now that you take your experience with Esther and apply it outside. Test it with somebody where you don't necessarily have that fail-safe of it's the dementia, it's the Alzheimer's, it's this, it's that. If it goes bad. You understand? So even if Esther had tried to reject, was always nice, but had these moments of rejection that the narcissist does, you understand? You'd have been able to still say, oh, she's a good person. That's just the dementia speaking. You understand? You took a lot out of this experience with Esther. Okay? But it's a step. You're at a nice plateau. Look ahead. Keep pushing forward. Apply what you learned from Esther into some real outside relationships at this point. So Thank you again for all your support and your contribution. And thank you for your story and telling us about Esther. And there are some really good lessons in here, what you talked about, for everybody to pick up on. So, and I really hope you're not taking what I'm telling you negatively, okay? But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you what my concerns were going forward, okay? Remember, this abuse never goes away. We're going to carry it the rest of our lives. Just recognize where you are, okay? You won a battle here, okay? The war goes on. Don't be content with winning battles. Win the war. Take your life. Gain your independence. Live free or die. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any comments or opinions in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, audio of a narcissist you'd like me to expose, and damn, the internet is flicking again. I hope I have enough to get it back, get this video up. You guys know what to do. With the PayPal link, I will get the video back to you as soon as possible. And as soon as all these internet problems and everything else, I'm telling you, there's going to be a day where there's going to be 20 videos, because between the contributions and the other stories, I got so, believe me, I want to get these blown out. Trust me. I just lost the connectivity again. Thank you again for all the support with the Aaron situation as well. And I'm doing fine. I know a lot of you are concerned, and you can see that this is what this has done, but I'm pushing through it. So everybody will have and nobody's really pressured. Nobody's giving me anything. It's only a few days behind. As soon as all this is fixed, it's going to be a 20. And so keep sending me your stuff and your stories, and let's keep it going, because this channel is going to blow up. I promise you. Till that time, hopefully I'll get some more videos up today. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again as soon as possible. Bye.